We are live. Welcome,
We
everybody.
are live. We are live again.
I am Dr.Gabriella Kőrösi, and I have the wonderful Dr.Hans with me here today again. And do you want to say something about yourself, Dr. Hans?
I can go on forever. I am my most favorite subject, Gabriella. But I'm a retired drug discovery researcher and biomedical researcher, having spent the last 17 years promoting the concept of prevention and wellness over treatment and cures.
Hello, Steve. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Steve.
So we were just talking about, hello, Charles. We were just talking about kind of an interesting subject just before we came live. We were talking about babies and pregnant moms and their wellness, which is extremely important, and the importance of breast milk and colostrum and the carotenoid levels in that. So for those people who have not seen our previous talk and don't know what carotenoids are and how important is it in prevention, Dr. Hans, would you like to say a few words about it?
Yeah, I don't know very much, but I know people who do, so I'm just repeating what I've learned. So from Professor Nolan's presentation to our Fireside-Chat, he had a lovely slide that sort of said there are 700 carotenoids in nature. It gives fish skin their color, birds feathers their color, and plants their color. The reason why, actually, if you think of it, the reason why plants are green is the chlorophyll, but underneath the chlorophyll, you see the beautiful fall colors. Those are all xanthophyll carotenoids, and many of them are. There's about 50 in our food supply, and 18 of those make it into our bloodstream. And here's the coolest thing. 3 of those 18 concentrate 1,000-fold in the back of the eye, the macula, which protects the seeing centers of the eye from that blue light radiation damage, which is linked to age-related macular degeneration. And also more recently, through work of Nolan at Nutrition Research Centre Ireland, they have been found, well, actually not his work, it's actually Rina Mulcahy, or I think it's Rina Mulcahy's work, who works with Alzheimer's patients and did the study of Alzheimer's patients when they were alive, measured their carotenoid levels in the skin or in the macula, and then when they passed away, measured the carotenoid levels in the brain, specifically the hippocampus. So there's a link. There's a link between high concentrations in the macula and high concentrations in the hippocampus. And then further on from that study, he showed that supplementation with lutein, zeaxanthine, mesozeaxanthine, those are the eye carotenoids, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin E slows the progression of Alzheimer's and dementia. So not that that's a treatment and cure claim, but his studies also show that people in society that have higher level of carotenoids in their system, they have better cognitive function.
So which we like.
I mean, you don't want to lose your mind. Or
not really.
Eyes, not really. But what he also showed us, which was really awesome, was the eye of an infant, of a newborn infant, is under twice the amount of oxidative stress as an adult. And the colostrum, the mother's colostrum, is sometimes called liquid gold.
Yes.
And it's called liquid gold because it's chock full of these eye carotenoids. So I find it quite interesting that as I interview pregnant women and nursing mothers, they've never been told about this.
I never been told about it. I just know it was important. We learned about it in nursing school, that it has a lot of nutrients and immunoglobulins and things like that that support the baby. But we have not learned back then about carotenoids and why they are important.
Well, we live and learn, hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I just find that very very interesting. You know, all this research and how it is connected to prevention. And you know, I think if there's anything we can do to support our brain and heart and body and prevent cancer, I mean, that's just, let's do it.
Yeah. We just need to be ready, willing, and able, Gabriella, because you know I always joke. You want to make easy money, go into sick care.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to have something really difficult to do, go into wellness and prevention. And it's just an observation. I'm not blaming anyone. It's just human nature. Why fix it if it ain't broke? My point would be, if it ain't broke, don't break it, or do something to keep it fixed. You know.
Absolutely.
But then you do need to have the information, and you need to have the trusted people in your network who can make you aware of things. You know, my grandmother used to say, "Show me your friends, I'll show you your future."
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of banal or proverbs saying, you know, that you are defined by the company you keep. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
I like that. It's really interesting about the friends that you were saying, because I just was reading an article about somebody who was recovering from alcoholism. And he was saying that, you know, he lost all the friends because the friends he used to hang out with, they were the only connection was the alcohol between them, right? So when he stopped using that harmful substance, then he lost the friends. But then later he realized, and that was my response too, as you know, as I was working in addiction for a very long time, that we warn people about that you are going to lose your friends, and you want to. Those friends who are only connected in a harmful way, and then you want to get new friends that support you in your health and wellness journey.
Yeah. You just reminded me of that article in the New York Times. I think it was, God knows, 2006, maybe 2010, titled "The Island Where People Forget to Die."
Oh.
So I'll read it for people here because I think it's really funny. So it featured a Greek national who, at age 65, was told by his New York doctors that he had lung cancer and had only a few more months or years to live. So he figured, I want to die at home. So he went back to his island Icaria, which is one of the blue zones.
Oh yeah, the blue zones, yeah.
And started having, if I can find it here. So he went back, and his name was Stamantis Moraitis. So he was born there and wanted to be buried with his ancestors. He reconnected with his faith, walking to a tiny Greek Orthodox church near his home. His childhood friends began visiting, and they talked for hours, sharing a bottle or two of wine. The bottle that's with alcohol, but it's not alcoholism. It's
different.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
So Moraitis planted vegetables in a small garden, even though he thought he wouldn't be around to harvest them. In the evening, he walked to the local tavern to play backgammon with his friends. Over 3 decades later,
so he was supposed to live a few months to a few years.
Exactly.
3 decades. Wow.
3 decades later, on a trip to visit his children in the U.S., he tried to return to his doctors to see why he was still alive. My doctors were all dead, he said.
Oh, wow.
So Mariah has passed away at 102.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
36 years after being diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace.
So,
and there's so much to say about that, just changing. I mean, he changed the environment. He reconnected with his roots. He was socially connected to the group of people who supported him and wanted to be with him. And I think there's so much about that. You being around people who want to be with you and love and care for you, have that community is essential. So it's really essential what you put in your body as far as supplements and food and to prevent your health, but also the environment you're in and the friends and the people you're in with, that's just as essential as well. As his story shows, I mean, yeah.
I have a mantra that I've sort of put together, stolen from other people. You have to plagiarize in this life to be successful. Don't let anything evade your eyes. So, and Zhao Liping was a microbiome researcher in Chicago who moved back to Shanghai, I believe, to continue his research. But he was featured in a 2012 special feature in Science on the microbiome. And if you just Google microbiome and me, you'll see a little short feature on him. But his mantra was eat right, keep fit, live long, die quick. So I've modified it to eat right, keep fit, laugh and play with loved ones and friends, sleep tight, live long, die quick. So, it all sort of pulls those things that happen in the blue zone quite well together.
Absolutely.
And again, I guess he also had also. There's a wonderful book, if you haven't read it, Jan Jeremiah gave it to me as a present. Lewis Thomas's The Youngest Science, which is a sort of a nice, beautiful history of medical science from the mid-30s through to about the 80s and 90s. He writes incredibly well. He was the editor of Science for a while and had a wonderful editorial on what science is all about. And it's probably the best editorial that sort of explains the drive that we scientists have to get to the answer at all costs. But in his book, he had a section about him being the head of the Dana-Farber Institute, where he said that hope is in itself a medicine, even though he can't prove it. There's not enough clinical data to show it, but he firmly believes it is. That people who have hope that things are going to get better usually do better than people that give up the hope. And then he has a little article about, have you ever heard of this bone pointing exercise in the Aboriginal culture?
No, I have not.
So one paper by an Australian oncologist compares the mode of dying in patients who are convinced they are doomed to the bone pointing syndrome observed in Aboriginal societies when a witch doctor points a bone at a person. Death follows within a few weeks.
Oh.
It's really the mind, it's quite a powerful thing.
Yes.
It's basically the placebo and the nocebo effect, I think is probably what he's referring to. So,
yeah. I do believe that the mind is extremely powerful, and other people, as we could see from your example, have a great influence on how we feel. So, like, just as you were mentioning, like, imagine a doctor giving you this death sentence, and then all you can think about is that you're gonna die, and you accept that you are going to die. You're probably going to die. But if you might decide, and this could be different for everybody, but there's a lot of people. I heard about a woman I met. I think this gal was my classmate at some point, and her mother had stage 4 bone cancer. Usually people don't come from that. But her mother was determined. She did not want to die. She had things to do, and she
Yeah.
survived stage 4 bone cancer, which people don't survive. So it is just so interesting. Is it a miracle? Is it a willingness to live? Is it, there's part of that science, but there's so much more that we don't know, and the
Well,
mind is powerful.
I think, there's a comment by one of Agatha Christie's characters. There's a doctor. He said,
Oh, I do love Agatha Christie.
Agatha Christie's. I mean, she's quite a scribe. So this doctor said, there is nothing. Life is an accident of physics with biochemical reactions.
Oh, I love that.
And I think, as a crystallographer by training, looking at atoms in space for most of my career, looking at life as a set of biochemical reactions is probably very helpful. It also informs us that those biochemical reactions, those enzymes, they need cofactors to make the reactions happen. And if they don't get the minerals and the cofactors to do that, like the vitamins and the minerals and the whatever, then the reactions happen slower, or they don't happen at all. And then all of a sudden, we worry about things not feeling right in our body. But so that's why, I really want people to know that at a micronutrient level, they are getting everything they need. They are truly nourished at that level. Because our food in America, according to Bruce Ames, and you can see it too, it's energy rich but nutrient poor. Yeah. And you see so many people that are, obesity is not a disease. It's just part of the genetic structure that we have. Because as a species, we have gone through many, many millennia of feast and famine, where our genetics have adapted to store fat when it's available. Store it, because the hard times are coming.
Yes.
But now there are really no hard times, at least in the Western world. There are hard times around the world, but in the explosion of obesity in America, the genetics just hasn't caught up with the evolution of our diet.
Well, and everything has the extra sugar, the extra corn syrup, the extra things in it to make it sweet. And once the brain, it's an addiction too. I know I'm having difficulty with that. The bread and the cheese and the chocolate, those things release the endorphins, and we want them because they taste amazing.
What is it? The wonderful quote from Oscar Wilde: "I can resist anything except temptation." So that's me. Me and chocolate, me and my biscotti.
Yeah.
And now I'm having a rethink. Maybe I should go to Biscotti Anonymous and get some help there. Yeah. Yeah. So, but back to our original conversation. So
yes,
I Googled after Jan sent me this article that says that that toddlers with high carotenoids have better cognitive function. So I went and I Googled, Google and ChatGPT. I Googled carotenoids and infant brain development study. So I said, so it comes back, recent research suggests that dietary carotenoids such as lutein, zeaxanthin, and beta-carotene significantly impact early brain maturation. Studies link higher skin carotenoid levels in toddlers to improved cognitive skills, gross motor development, and faster gains in receptive communication. So do the experiment yourself. Ask the pregnant ladies or mothers or nursing mothers you come across what they know about carotenoids.
looks like Alexi had a question.
Flavonoids, yeah, I mean, they're also wonderful plant molecules that have their own. I mean, I don't know precisely what they have. I take them. I don't know as much about them as I know about carotenoids, but yes, absolutely, those polyphenols and polyglycols and the flavonoids. I mean, it's why people like and suggest a diet that's rich in vegetables and fruits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, carotenoids are not something we make.
Yeah.
If we or primates or any mammalian species don't have it in their system, well, they're not going to have it. If they don't have it in their diet, they won't have it. Yeah? But yes, Alexi, that's a wonderful, another group of wonderful molecules, as are the astaxanthins, the purples, the purple colored, like in blueberries, bilberries. They're awesome. I think even managing person's metabolism and also gut health. There's a product that I have used in the epigenetic space that is rich in these purple cyanins. So yeah. So back to the question of how can we create the awareness that at least our mothers have gotten all the information, because I wouldn't be surprised if downstream, if the brain doesn't mature at the time. There's a study out of Harvard's Department of Child Development that has a wonderful little graph for the various different aspects of child development from 3 months before birth to 14 years of age, where it stops. All that wiring up stops. So within those windows, it says, once those windows close, they do not reopen. So I would say it's important that at that time when they are open, that the brain and the baby is getting what it needs, and the mother's getting what it needs.
So it's essential, for babies and also pregnant mothers, right? Because the carotenoid levels drop as the baby needs in utero as well. But there's also amazing effects on Alzheimer's and cancer and cardiac health. So, while maybe certain windows close, others open for until the end of our lives, right? To improve on our health and wellness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for everybody joining. If you guys have any questions, we are talking about health, wellness. There's no questions that are unwelcome. So if you have any type of questions, please ask. And we are basically focusing on prevention and see what can be done to support our body and mind and spirit all together. So we talked about communities, we talked about nutrients and supplements and carotenoid levels. And those of you who don't know Dr.Hans, he's created the Healthy Neighborhood Project that collaborates with people from all over the world to spread the love of prevention and wellness, which is a really difficult task because most people, they like to react. So yeah, when I'm really sick and I need to go to the doctor, then I'm going to do something about it. But it is much better for our bodies and minds if we focus on prevention than reactionary medicine.
Yeah. But it's not easy. It's
no,
simple.
It's not. It's not easy. Absolutely. It's easy to say it too, but it's it's not an easy task. So
maybe I will talk a little bit about the device that sort of changed my life.
okay.
So this is the third generation Pharmanex biophotonic scanner. that uses blue light out of this thing
Mm-hmm.
in the palm of your hand to measure your carotenoid levels. You can also measure your carotenoid levels in blood, and they actually are correlated quite well. I would say that is more likely the gold standard for getting a good, accurate measure of carotenoids. And then after 23 years or so of using that particular device, this year, the same company has come up with this little small device called Prism, which doesn't, I can't say it actually measures like the S3 scanner, but it does a measurement / AI machine learning estimate from the tip
Which
of
is
your
very
finger,
close, right?
which is very close.
Have you done the measuring with both and see how the difference it works?
They track very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being a nerd. I prefer this one, but for what I love about this is that people can bring this home for the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is more suited to a clinical setting where people are going into to their doctors and getting it measured. But that was, I joke, that was my carotenoid epiphany 15 years ago, nearly. And my friend, as you know, Steve Boucher, calls me a quote slinging carotenoid crusader.
And you are.
And I am.
That's a very accurate assessment. I would second that notion, but I also thank you for doing that.
Yeah. So Joe had a great question. So I let you answer that since you're probably more aware of it than I am.
So Joe is asking, my mom ended up with Alzheimer's, but looking back, she had behavior that was almost sociopathic and mean. Does it relate to the empathy or the lack thereof? So many people with Alzheimer's develop angry behaviors because what I have seen when I was working on the Alzheimer unit is that people just don't know what's going on. And can you imagine being in a body and your mind is not functioning and you don't know where you are, you don't understand what's going on, you don't remember these people, you don't even remember many times your own family. And it's just like people were in a constant state of anxiety and stress. And it was very difficult. Like the only way we as nurses, we were able to give medicine to many Alzheimer patients is to give them something sweet. We gave them pudding and we're able to give the medicine with the pudding because they were just, oh, I see. Mean a couple of decades earlier. Well, it's kind of hard to know. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about your mom because I don't know the situation, but there are people who are sociopathic or psychopathic and have those tendencies. It's kind of difficult because we don't know people can have those effects from childhood. We know about the ACE studies that there's childhood trauma that causes people to act certain ways. I don't know if, and some people are just mean. I have a really good friend in Jamaica, and her mother was a horrible mother. It was just always awful to her. And her grandmother, too, didn't want to do anything with the kids. And I don't know why some people are like that or not. But, I mean, nutrition can make a big difference, or people around you if you have support in your life. So kind of depending on what was going on in your mom's life, but probably acting that way didn't help her brain. Hans was just telling about a person earlier who was diagnosed with lung cancer and was told to live a couple of months, a couple of years, and then moved back home, was together with childhood friends and family, and lived another 3 decades. So, life is magical. Why people behave the way they do, we don't know. But all we can do is provide the information, have the conversation how to be healthier. And yeah, I agree that would be a very interesting correlative study. You know, if people who are angrier or meaner in life are more likely to develop Alzheimer's. I don't know, but that's a great question. Yeah, that would be very interesting. I don't know if there's an Alzheimer's support group where people can talk about that and look at that.
There was a post recently that I took a picture of. It was and again, research shows. When people say research shows, I like the reference right there and then.
Yeah.
Like you would if you were
Yes.
publishing
Yeah.
a book or a paper. So, but anyway, research shows consuming just 14 minutes of negative news is enough to trigger a survival-based negativity bias in the brain, which leads to chronic stress, increased anxiety/depression, and significant physical health issues like weakening the immune system and heart complications. So, Joe, to your point, it may very well be that negativity bias in your mother sort of weakened the vessel, and I'm sure stress ain't a good thing long term. But yeah, it's hard to tell people to be positive when they're in the middle of stuff that is challenging, and if we don't want to be, how do you call it, chronic positivity, or what's that phrase, to be chronically positive when everything happens. But it certainly helps us get through, like laughter and humor.
Yes.
Helps us get through those difficult periods of life that we all have to go through, and yeah. So,
and sometimes lives are so tough. All you can do is laugh, right? And laughter is actually a really good medicine. I went to a 2-day course to learn how to laugh, to help my patients. And there are sounds that we have. It's ha, ho, he. Those sounds, if you keep saying, you cannot not laugh. You want to try it, Hans? So,
well, I think you reminded me of there was a laughing guru who I came across years ago. He said, in the morning when you get up, look at yourself in the mirror and start laughing, and you crack up, and it's a good way. So ALS, she died of ALS. That's Lou Gehrig's disease, isn't it? ALS, or is that, because ALZ would be Alzheimer's, but she died last year of ALS. Is that correct, Joe? You mean Alzheimer's, or you mean Lou Gehrig's disease? Anyway.
Yeah, but like all of these combined, so if you have the nutritional intake, you have community, you do the laughter, we do need positivity, because when I grew up, we had the news, my mom turned on the news, the evening news, and that was it. Now with the phones and everything, you can continuously get the news. I chose not to have it. After 9/11, when I was continuously watching the news, and it was so distressing, then I decided this is not good for my health and mental health. So I stopped watching the news. It doesn't mean that I never check it. I check it occasionally. And, other people let you know as well in your surrounding, usually spouses, friends, family, if there's something major's happening. But I can't focus on the negative news. It's too much. All the deaths, all the destruction, all the war. And all I can do is control my environment. Okay,
yeah, so
the
Joe,
entire system failed.
So Joe, if it is ALS, so I just googled ALS. It's amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. The symptoms vary, but generally begin with painless muscle weakness or stiffness. The disease affects voluntary movements, gradually impairing mobility, speech, eating, and breathing. It's called Lou Gehrig because Lou Gehrig, I think, is a baseball player. He had it, and you're right, the entire system failed. It's not a happy condition.
No.
There was a link, and we published a paper in Science many years ago that linked a mutation in the enzyme called superoxide dismutase which is a required enzyme to detoxify the superoxide free radical as part of oxygen metabolism. We just need it if we don't have that enzyme. And there actually is a knockout experiment that was done years ago that took out the mitochondrial superoxide dismutase in mice embryos, and when those mice were born, they died within about 4 hours, like they were in a nuclear reactor. So,
oh my goodness.
so there is, again, life is an accident of physics with biochemical reactions, and superoxide dismutase is one of those really powerful, very, very fast enzymes that we need to have in our system to help us, detoxify the byproducts of our oxygen metabolism. But ALS, there's a mutation in that enzyme that's also linked to Lou Gehrig's disease, and yeah. All I can say is that, touch wood, there is what would be really nice, and I talked with a guy this morning on the golf course, very, 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 the first noticed symptoms was Alzheimer's. Okay, so yeah, so things just start to fail. The brain starts to fail. So that's not nice, Joe. Our empathy and sympathy for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it was, I remember years ago talking to a head of research who said that, well, maybe even just go back to Dean Ornish in that interview with TED interview with Deepak Chopra, where he said 75% of what ails us is preventable. So wouldn't it be nice if we had a healthcare industry that helped people in that 75% of prevention, and then a sick care industry that did a great job at dealing with the 25% that's not preventable. I mean, real diseases, and not necessarily lifestyle-induced maladies. Because we are creatures of habit.
Absolutely. For example, in Oregon, I feel really lucky because one of the local universities, the Oregon Health and Science University, they were offering free testing for people who live here in Oregon because they were doing cancer studies. And, I sent in my genetic testing. I'm like, if I can add to the greater good by sharing that and also get tested in the same time, so I know if I have a precursor to those testing, because unfortunately I do have cancer in my family. And I am so grateful that I did. It was simple prevention, and I don't have any of the precursors. Yeah. So it was really great to know, and I was able to share that with my sisters and my family. And, it almost felt like this great, weight falling off of my shoulder. And right now, there's another study that they are doing that I'm going to look up and plan to enroll, that there is a simple blood test that they can do and see if there's anything in the blood that indicates pre-cancer.
So let me just say one thing. Yeah. The standard within the sick care industry when they talk prevention is early detection.
Yes.
Yes, early detection. It's not true prevention like what I would understand true prevention.
Yes.
And all of these studies, none of them that I see, or well, maybe few of them, or maybe I haven't seen many, but the ones that I've seen, they are not normalized for the nutritional competence of the people in the study.
Yes,
what I mean? I mean, if we know from NHANES that only 1 out of 10 of us is truly getting the fruit and vegetables in our diet that we need, and you do a clinical study in the 9, and you get conflicting information, well then, why wouldn't you go back to see if the foundation is the same? If the foundation is solid?
That's a great question. It would be great to add to see what the creatinine levels were.
Precisely. So I would definitely go to the Oregon Health and whatever institute and ask them if they would add in that, because some people call it oh, look, there's an MD PhD.
Richard, thank you for joining.
Maybe Richard can answer that question for us. Yeah, hello, Richard. So the 2010 meta-analysis by Donaldson proposed a carotenoid health index based on serum carotenoid concentrations and actual clinical outcomes, like bad stuff happening to your health.
Mm-hmm.
And he defined 5 concentrations according to risk. Very high risk for stuff happening, high risk, medium risk, low risk, and very low risk. If you look at the average score in America on the carotenoids, and I can translate the carotenoid, the Skin Carotenoid Score to that particular marker, I would say that most of us are in the very high to high risk for stuff happening, and it does happen.
Yeah.
So look at that. That's 11 years ago, nearly 15 years ago, and you see how slowly those metrics are included into our medical system. I mean, my blood work, when I did my score, my doctor said it had an overall very good pattern, but my score was down in the very high risk category. It ain't there anymore, you know. But if you don't measure, you can't manage, and if you don't test, there's no point in guessing.
Absolutely. But I mean, this is specific to this type of research. But of course, there's also research that's specific to nutrition, and luckily, there's researchers who look at those things, like Dr. Nolan and some others that look at the effects of carotenoid and nutrition and what does it have in the body. And Joe just said that, going back to her mom, is that her mom worked in the food industry and only ate processed food. Oh my goodness. In her lifetime. Luckily, she had done everything the opposite. And
well, then, Joe, may I just make one other measure, but maybe observation and recommendation. Find yourself one of these things. You know, ask Gabriella where you can find one, or find one of these things where you can measure, and if not, ask the doctor to prescribe a serum carotenoid test, and then you can convert that to to the health index that Donaldson proposed. Yeah, but what I love about that test, it's really puts the person in control. I mean, I don't like tests, I tell you. What is it, the joke that the Nile is not just a river in Egypt, it's a really healthy form of coping? And to your point earlier, Voltaire, I believe, who also was a physician, said the job of the physician is to keep the patient amused while nature heals the condition. So if you don't have a physician like Dr. Benson, I think Herbert Benson, who wrote The Relaxation Response, that scares you into the nocebo effect, you better change your physician. Because not everyone can go back to their island in Icaria like the person we mentioned at the beginning of the talk, and go back to their roots.
Yeah. The main thing is we have to focus on prevention.
I think the main thing is that we do what is simple, what's easy, and it cannot be a reworking of your whole lifestyle. I've measured thousands of people on the scanner, and a frequent reaction is, I'm not changing what I'm doing. I mean, you see,
I heard those responses too, that I'm already doing enough. Yeah, but I'm already doing this. I'm already doing that. Yeah.
And I totally empathize with that. I mean, when I measured mine down in the red, September 22nd, 2011, I wasn't going to change how I eat.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been like a Manhattan Project. Yeah, that was not going to happen in a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
But I had never taken a multi. I even
Mm-hmm.
told my doctor 30 years ago, he suggested I take a multi, that I don't need one. Now, that's based on no information, just a subconscious reaction. I don't need it. I will get it from my diet. But
Mm-hmm.
clearly I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, now my doctor says your blood work is exquisite and your regimen appears to be keeping you ageless. And I'd like to keep that going as I go through my 70s into my 80s and 90s, and then live long and die quick, you know.
So what is the differences that you have noticed?
You know, I have a regimen that's also resets your epigenetics, because remember,
Mm-hmm.
aging, according to the researchers at MIT or Harvard, what's his name, David Sinclair, aging is just a loss of epigenetic information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you can reset the genetic orchestra of your life
Okay.
to play always a youthful symphony, then you're actually slowing down your biological clock. So I get stable stamina, mental clarity, and sexual vitality from a mushroom pomegranate and Panax ginseng formulation that targets mitochondrial gene expression and resets it to a youthful state. I've done that for the last 15 years, and I would not go without it. From the multivitamin, multimineral, phytonutrient, and the omega-3 supplement that I take, it's good. It's good for cardiovascular health. So my lipids improved once I got on it. My bad cholesterol went down. My good cholesterol went up. And now I'm keeping my ApoB in the A+ region. So, you know, that's another paper that and I put it in here. So there's there are two papers. One is Nolan's paper on Alzheimer's, and then the second paper is Nolan's paper on cardiovascular health. So they're also involved in that. So I tell people, yeah, cholesterol needs to be managed, but it also is essential for building your cells. So it is, and exercise, daily routines is perfect, Dr. Hogan. That's exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's amazing how a little bit of exercise after you eat manages your blood sugar spike. But the three people, two of the three people that I talked with today on the golf course, I mean, they were young, but they were carrying a lot of weight, and waist circumference is also a pretty accurate predictor of longevity. Yeah. So I'm not sure. And gut health. Yeah, you have to absorb it. It's not what's in the food. It's how you absorb it. And you know, one thing that ppnf.org, the Price Pottinger NF Nutritional Foundation. I think there are two dentists, or one dentist and some medicine guy. They have their headquarters here in San Diego, and there's a book that they wrote about nutrition. But what they're looking at is the tribes. You know, it would be interesting. But I always just look at incidence of X disease in blue zones, and then take it from there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what they did. Rice and Pottinger, they went through and examined the diets and of indigenous people around the world, and came up with their recommendations. And they have you know, when people say, "Is this good for you? Is this good nutritionally for you?" Then you would say, "Well, look and see if it's been in a society with 7 generations." You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not only for survival.
So all the chipses and the sodas are probably going to be X'd out, right?
But probably, yeah. So
So walk in the outskirts of the grocery store and go
Yeah.
to your markets. Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like, so Richard Hogan also had some questions a little bit above, saying the questions are, what is the experience of sleep and nutrition? Personal responsibility evidence. What are the implications of the use of nature? These are better ways to reduce abnormal biochemistries.
Great questions. I mean, we know that nutrition is compromised by bad sleep,
Yes.
and the timing of our nutrition is also important. I mean, William Wallace just showed something that if you had breakfast, then your lunch sugar spike is half of what it would be if you didn't have breakfast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know the implications of nature. You know, what Cicero said: all you need is a library and a garden, and you have everything. we need to be connected to nature. We're not connected to nature. We're living in cubicles in concrete jungles, and that has its own
Speak
cost.
for yourself, Hans. There, I'm
Well, I mean,
looking at a forest out in my window.
well, so am I.
Yeah,
I'm looking at my garden, but many of us
many of the people
don't
yes.
have that luxury of a single family home with a huge garden that their children can roam in. So, and yes, there definitely is better ways to reduce abnormal biochemistries. But if it ain't there, Dr. Hogan, it ain't there, because you're not
Yeah.
going to make the vitamins. You're not making vitamin C. Yeah, it's just the things that we do need to take into account. Personal responsibility evidence. I've seen in the 15 years I've worked with the scanner that once people see the improvement, not only in their score but in how they feel, they are compliant. Now it is a consultation that takes time. It's an input of my time that your average physician who is suffering under the burden of the current needs of the sick care system just does not have the time. You know, they don't have the time to spend an hour with the patient once a month and ask them all these questions about how are you sleeping, you know, how are you exercising, how is your skin carotenoid score doing, what's the family, what's the stress, you know, unless you're a concierge physician. You know? So for many people, it's a challenge. Hopefully
Absolutely.
and he's got 2 PhDs. I mean, that is really impressive, Richard.
Yeah, Richard, tell us what your PhDs are in. We would be curious, and you know, if you ever want to jump in to have a conversation with us on the stage, you know, let me know, and I can invite you in.
And I would also love. I'm going to put into the chat here the link to the Healthy Neighborhoods Project, and everyone here is welcome to join us this coming Saturday. A very young and talented biomedical engineer, Ari Morris, is going to talk to us about GLP-1 and how what are the pros and the cons, etc., of that kind of intervention.
Hans, I think you just got a slap on the wrist from Richard.
I did. You are excusing your personal responsibilities. I'm sorry that you have indicated refusal to change diet. No, I'm human after all, you know. So
it's not easy. I have difficulty with that too, Richard, because food is there, right? So it's easy to fall into it. And when we are stressed and have difficult things in our lives, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Them not picking up that ice cream or that candy or that slice of bread that we might not need. So I think there's definitely could be improvement in that in our life. What Hans was saying and what he was telling me from the beginning, that this is a mindset of a lot of the people. So if people are not willing to change the behavior, or they're trying and they can't, keep trying and they can't, at least if they take the supplement, at least if they, I usually say, at least going for a walk, or at least doing, improving your community and nature, and do wellness visits. What are the one thing you can do in prevention is, check that score, check that carotenoid level, and you get a clear and accurate picture of your wellness. And then see what is it that you're willing to do. And in the conversation, we do include the lifestyle change, but most people don't want to do that, and that's very hard. And it is excusing the personal responsibility. I agree.
Quantum mechanics, neuroscience.
Oh my God, I love it.
Absolutely awesome. No, Richard, you need to come and join us at our fireside chat sometime. And I take your criticism to heart.
Same here.
Thank
you for calling it out. I mean, I appreciate it.
It is. I also measure my omega-3, omega-6 ratio. So my carotenoid levels are high. My body composition is relatively perfect for a person of my age. If I use the Omron scale, which I did today, my visceral fat is down in a very low number, and my so-called little biological age is 30 years less than what I am my physical age. So I keep definitely responsible for what I put into my body, both from a nutrition perspective and from a diet perspective. So I encourage people. I always recommend that people do that. That they increase the amount of vegetable and fruits that they have in their diet.
Absolutely.
And definitely minimize meds. I mean, in my, I keep surprising my physicians who say, "You're on no meds, you're on no meds, you're on no meds." No, yes, no meds, and change the lifestyle habits. And that's why I think the device is a great way to help people stay on track, because that's basically also influences the score, your lifestyle habits, or how much stress you're dealing with. So, yeah, that's it's very, very, very sound advice, and I'm right with you there.
Absolutely. And Joe, thank you for asking. Yes, this recording will be posted. It usually, after we finish, it takes a while for it to process and then upload. But it's going to be posted on my Substack, and I will on my personal Substack, and then share it on Dancing Elephant Press and the Healthy Neighborhood Project Substack. And then also it's going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel as well. And we'll share it on the different LinkedIn and social media sites as well. So probably later today and tomorrow it will be posted. Well, Jack, thank you for joining. We had a wonderful conversation. We are getting to the end of our session, but we had a lot of great questions, and Richard says, always work to the exception in the stats. Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate Richard and Joe being so engaged and asking all the questions and sharing their thoughts and calling us out on things.
Yeah, I definitely think that it helps to keep an open mind.
Yes.
Since I retired from Pfizer in 2009 and been working in wellness and prevention, I come across a lot of people in the sick care industry that do standard of care because that's important to do. Mm-hmm. But it also means that they are not really open-minded. And you're familiar with the famous Dunning-Kruger effect? See if I can just get this once for you. So there are two Harvard psychologists in the 90s, Kruger, Dunning and Kruger.
While you're looking that up, I'm just going to make a comment to Richard's comment that he doesn't know much. It sounds like from your questions, Richard, that you're very humble and you kind of know quite a bit. And they're always learning. They're learning from each other, so that's wonderful.
Okay, so 1999, two Cornell University psychologists, Justin Kruger and David Dunning, published a paper called Unskilled and Unaware of It, How Difficulties in Recognizing One's Own Incompetence Leads to Inflated Self-Assessment. Basically, their paper argued that, in other words, not only do ignorant people make errors, but their ignorance makes it hard for them to recognize that they have done so. I know nothing, you know. I just know a lot of people who do, and I do depend on them to help me through the stages of learning. Yeah.
I think that's essential. What you said is just to be open-minded, and also willingness to try and to do something different, or listen to what others have to say. There's so many people not willing to listen and just want to hear their own voice and set in their own ways, like they put these blinders on and no, this is the way I always done it. And my father and grandfather and great grandfather, they always ate meat and potatoes and they were fine. You know, I mean, that's one way of thinking. But we can expand on that.
So there's a wonderful, and we probably should stop with this. There's a wonderful cartoon I always reference with a mother knitting, sitting in a chair, and on the floor at her feet is a little child, and the child is transfixed by a spiraling black hole on the wall. And the mother says, "Honey, it's just the abyss. Try not to look into it." That's when there are big things that we've got to deal with, and it's not an excuse, Dr. Hope. It's not an excuse. It's reality. Our brain shuts down.
That's true.
So we don't want to confront those huge abysses. Yeah. So we do need a gentle guidance through. Yeah. So yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Dr. Hogan. But and that's the reality. I mean, I have 1 out of 100 people already, when I talk to them about, are they ready to take control of their health? And that's just the reality of it. And unfortunately, we will only change when the burden of sick care drives us in America into bankruptcy. I mean, now we're paying $4 trillion. When Ornish made the statement, we were paying $2.7 trillion on sick care in 2009. And I talked with a hospital administrator once who said, once we reach 20% of GDP, America goes into bankruptcy.
Well, I would love to see a system where we are paying for wellness care instead of sick care.
But are we prepared to do that, Gabriella? That's the problem.
No, I don't think so. But I'm just, I can wish for beautiful things.
We can certainly wish, and I love the fact that now all these medical schools are having physicians practicing or new physicians to go through 40 hours of nutritional education. But if the physician in his practice cannot monetize that to keep his practice open, then tell me, who's at fault?
Yeah.
Who's at fault? I mean, I ask people how much are they willing to invest in their health, because they can't buy their health, but they can invest in it. People don't even want to spend $1 a day on their health, but they will pay $6 a day for a Starbucks habit, but claim that they don't have enough money. It's just unfortunate, but that's the headwind, that hopefully good people like you and Dr. Hogan, then do something about.
I love it. I love our conversation. Joe is saying off topic, but it's like overcoming lifestyle PTSD.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Richard says, regenerate. I love it. Let's regenerate. And I keep going. As a psychologist, not practicing now, but still I look at it from that lens. Yeah. Joe. Yeah, it is. It is because we grow up a certain way. And, society it's not an easy to live in today's society.
Well, there was a wonderful hypnotherapist, a nomadic hypnotherapist, who never actually came to the Fireside Chat, but he said to me, you want a better life? Tell yourself a better lie. Train yourself unconscious, your subconscious.
I love it.
So.
But going back to what Richard said earlier too, that's something that I enjoy as well, and tell people, and I do nature walk and ask people to go out to nature and reconnect to nature. That's one thing we can also do. Get your score in carotenoid levels. If you are not taking a supplement and your score is low, well, take a supplement if you need to. In the meantime, try to do healthier things, go for a nature walk, build community, build support, and change your lifestyle if you can. And
but then also
take that responsibility, small steps at a time, not all day at once. But
also, Gabriella, I would say get a trusted person like Gabriella to guide you along the path. You need a Sherpa.
Or Hans. Hans is a trusted person too.
We all need a guide. We all need the Sherpa. We will, or as I think the Navy SEAL who says when they're going into the training, they have a so-called loving approval buddy that's never more than 6 feet away from them through the training. Yeah. So have that person to hold you accountable, because it's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. To stay on the wagon.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So
I have stayed on it many times, and then something happens, like for me, you get a traumatic brain injury and then break body parts, and all you can focus on is healing your brain and your broken bones, and it's easy to fall back to that, have that slice of bread because it makes me feel good, or that piece of chocolate. So I'm working on that too.
Dr. Hogan, explain more about what you mean about at least 20 minutes outside of the
residence. Yeah.
What do you mean by that, Doc?
Keep sex life away. Us doctors are nuts, aren't we? I think we are all nuts a little bit, yes, but in a good way.
I mean, I grew up in Ireland, and my dear grandmother passed away at home.
Mm-hmm.
And she was not put into a hospital. And she passed away in a few minutes. In the minute it took my mother to make breakfast, Granny was gone. But her local GP came around and made house calls.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone was an amazing, relaxing kind of service that she did for my grandmother.
That's how it was in Hungary when I grew up. Yeah. People who couldn't go in, the doctor would go out. And now, even if you're super sick, you're supposed to go into the hospital, you're supposed to go into the doctor and then infect everybody. It's just,
and the people during COVID who passed away without their loved ones being present, I mean, that, can you imagine that stress? Yeah. No. I leave you with one joke, and then we should probably go on, and it's probably not for, well, it's an Irish joke, so excuse me.
Okay.
It goes, I want to die peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming and shouting like the passengers in his car.
Well, definitely thank you for all your wisdom and your laughter and the jokes, Dr. Hans. Oh, 20 minutes in nature daily and 20
Yeah.
minutes daily interactions with human, animal, birds, reptiles. Oh, I love it.
I love it. I love
so
it.
much, Richard. Yes,
Yeah.
and after this, while this video is processing, I'm gonna go get my few hours in nature in the forest and with my plants, definitely. And then we'll post this video later. Thank you so much for everybody for joining, Richard, Joe, and everybody else who joined and asked questions. Thank you so much. And until we see you guys next time, we're going to try to make this a weekly thing with Dr. Hans to come say hi and talk about health and prevention. So see you guys next time. Have a lovely day. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.